Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. Here, I discuss ways in ways to help SMEs thrive. SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, or small and medium-sized businesses. And I just wanted to appreciate everyone that has watched, that has sent comments and compliments, and I really appreciate that. We're still young, we're still moving, and the program is moving forward. And also thank you for those that have appeared on this program so far. Remember, this is just a resourceful program, just resources, providing resources, educated resources, just to make sure that you have knowledge base to help your SME thrive, right? Just of course, for informative purposes only. It's very important for you to seek the advice of a professional. All right. Now, I have another exciting topic, always having exciting topics, interesting topics. I'm always excited to be here. And whether it's morning where you are or afternoon, evening, hello, everyone. All right. So another interesting topic today that I have to share is 10 tips on how to write an awesome blog. There was a question last week on ways or whether a blog is required to actually brand your company, or very important for marketing. Is that even important? Well, I said, it's good to have a blog, right? But some people really don't know what is really a blog, how do you actually interact or market yourself with blogs, right? Of course, we know, a blog is just a write-up, but I'm going to go into details and how do you actually, get a great blog, get it out there, right? And remember, there are so many, I'm going to just give you 10 tips. There are so many out there, but I'm identifying with these 10 tips, which I believe are really resourceful tips, all right? Again, blogging, very good for creating awareness of your brand, getting your brand out there. Awesome. And so I'll give you some tips. The very first tip is to know your target audience. Now, when you're blogging, right? Know who you're blogging to. Who are you blogging? Who are you blogging? Who's your blog for? Or what group of people? That's what I mean by target audience, right? If you're into things for kids, right? Kids stuff like toys, you're not going to blog on medication, right? You're not blogging on medication because your target market are for kids. It's just generally for kids. Your target market is the kids market, right? Now, I get it if you want to say something to the parents, that's okay because it's still in line. Because the goal of your blog is to get your brand out there. So if you're blogging about medication, really, that is not going to work because really, yes, it might be factual and everything, but really, how does that relate to your brand? Remember, blogging is a form of marketing and is actually a form of getting your brand, is a way of getting your brand out there, right? So, you're not selling medication, right? You're not in that line of business. So why should you blog? It might be exciting, interesting, good, but that is for your own consumption, okay? But not for your customers, not for your clients. So blog things or topics that would interest, first of all, identify your target market before we go to the second point. Identify your target market. That's the very first thing, right? Because you want to know what interests your target market, right? And again, your target audience, your market audience, but you know what I mean, all right? So that's the very first step, because without knowing that, you really don't know, you wouldn't really be able to identify what your topic is, all right? Okay, that's the very first step. Now, the second tip is create a captivating topic. Right? What interests? Okay, remember we talked about toys, right? So what is so big about toys? What is captivating about what? Maybe there's a special toy out there. Maybe you're talking about toy safety. Think what is out there that is captivating, right? That is not boring. That's, oh my goodness. So create a captivating or address a captivating topic, right? What is it out there? What do you think your customers or your potential customers, potential clients, what is it that they're looking for? So when you're looking at that and say, okay, yes, this is very interesting, right? Now, maybe in my own field, I could use an example. I know for me, many people are looking at tax savings. For me as an accountant, a CPA. So blogging in that area would work. Many people are looking at, okay, this SME, how do I reduce costs? Okay, blogging for me in that area would work, would be something to, get my brand out there. So you have to look at what is it that really, really, goes with what you are doing, right? What is captivating? Not just what you're doing, but it should be captivating. I know some people say, oh my goodness, some CPA topics, accounting topics are boring. There's somebody say that, but people might say that. So go for boring topics. I wouldn't go for boring topics, right? I wouldn't go for complicated topics that you have to be an accountant to understand it. Unless my target market, right? Or my target audience, they're accountants like me, then I said, okay, I can blog on things that are complicated, are complex. Okay? You see where I'm going, right? Now, if my target as an accountant, if my target audience is like businesses, nobody wants to hear how you calculate depreciation. They don't want to, that's not what they're looking at, because they're not interested in that. You see where I'm coming from? So before I identified who are my target audience, who are my audience, right? I gave you an example of I'm an accountant and I have two different, if I'm blogging to two different audiences, you see what I'm saying? An audience, if I'm blogging to an accounting audience, yes, they might want to know, okay, what is the new thing about depreciation and think, yeah, that would be fine. If I'm blogging to business owners, again, depreciation would be very boring to them because they just don't want to know how to analyze it. They say, okay, it exists, okay, but they don't want to know how to analyze it. So those are some examples I'm giving when it comes to audience. And again, interesting. Yes, in my target audience, if they are small businesses, of course, they might, depreciation is boring, but might be relevant, but it's boring for them because, it's very complex, right? So address a topic that is captivating, that is, that people say, oh my goodness, I really want to read about this. All right. Okay. So that is step number 2 or tip number 2. Now, yes, captivating, captivating topic is important. That's what you're addressing, but also the title, right? Not only what you're addressing, but the title itself, right? You might like what I'm thinking about 10 tips on how to blog. Is that, you might want to talk about blogging, but is the title of your blog interesting? You see what I'm saying? Is your title interesting? So yes, blog, blogging, great. That is the topic you're addressing. But what about the title? So it has to be captivating that people say, oh my goodness, I want to listen to this. I want to read, because some people listen to blog by, getting some, there's apps that read blogs to people to listen. So that's still all right. But I'm just talking about how people might be excited to actually say, oh my goodness, this is talking about how to reduce costs. And this is something very interesting. I've come across very interesting topics and very interesting. But if you don't have the title, if the title is not interesting, should I say very interesting topic, but the titles are not captivating. And it's just like, oh my goodness, it's just one of those emails I receive, but oh my goodness, I'm not really reading it. But sometimes I'll see the title very captivating, and then I'm interested in reading the all about that title, reading about what's in the blog. So remember, get your audience target audience, then get what you're really working on, what is it the top you're working on, and then captivating title. Okay, that's the third. Okay, the fourth is, okay, you don't want something that is too wordy. This is a time of straight to the point. We have some video apps now that people love it because it's just a couple of seconds and you're seeing something that is very interesting. Nobody wants to have a blog or read a blog that is all over the place, that has so much fluff in it. Fluff is just things that are just added on, which without adding value. So it should really not be too wordy. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some fun stuff in your blog, but make sure it's not too wordy. Let's make sure your blog is not, paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, right? There is a standard number of words that you're supposed to have on your blog. Through research, you can check that out and see what really works for you. But it's good to go with the trend and say, what is the standard number, right? You don't want to get too wordy. You want to get straight to the point. Of course, I'm not saying that there should not be any fluff. Even as I'm having this show, there are some things I add here just to make it interesting. There is nothing wrong with that. But imagine me talking about blogs right now and then going off a tangent and talking with 10 minutes about something else. Yeah, you want to captivate the people reading. You want to captivate them. You want to make sure that they're excited and that they won't get so bored, or after reading maybe a paragraph, say, what is this? This is not actually the interesting topic I thought it was. All right. So make sure it's not too wordy, not too much, not padded terribly, and just make sure that it's not too wordy. All right. Get to the points. That's the fourth. We're going to hit 10. Don't worry. But I just wanted to make sure that I explain this. All right. The fifth one is use interesting pictures. Use interesting pictures. When I write blogs, I like using pictures that would really match what I'm speaking about. Right. So make sure you use illustration, use pictures. If you want to use graphics, photos, of course, make sure you know that if it's copyrighted, be careful, know what you're, using. Make sure you know what you're using so you're not going against any copyright law. So yes, some people actually take pictures and put on that blog, okay? But if you want to use other pictures, make sure it's not copy, that you have not an issue, you don't have an issue with copyright infringement. That's another ballgame. You don't want that to happen. But include pictures. It makes it, it makes it very interesting when you include pictures. It draws attention. It's really great if you do include pictures. I know some people actually write blogs without including pictures, but I have seen that personally. On my own side, I see that. That I find it more interesting if you include pictures. And pictures. When I say pictures and illustration, let me go back to what I'm from in my own case. If I want, as an accountant, if I'm writing a blog, let's say maybe of mileage, right? Of course, I put a picture of a car there. Mileage. I won't just go on and on. Mileage, right? I'll put a picture of a vehicle, right? And just to show that it's, mileage related. Of course, there are mileage in so many, there are different ways of explaining mileage, but at least I'll put a picture of a vehicle. So, some people might say, but what I'm writing about is very technical, even though it's related to what I'm doing is very technical. Fine. Look for things that are not, I know are not unserious per se, because I know some people say, you know what, I don't want people thinking that this blog is sort of a kind of unserious thing that people will not take it seriously, right? So again, remember, what I'm saying depends on your target market, right? Now, if you're writing for kids, that's different. You might want to have something funny here and there, but it just depends on your target market, right? So it's very important, but you still would find ways to incorporate pictures, illustration that will really drive home your points. All right. So whether you're in the technical field, selling your service or you're selling a product, it's good to include um, pictures when you're actually writing your blog. All right. The next point. Well, the sixth point is sort of tied to the fourth, I believe to the fourth point when I said let it not be too wordy, but it's just also an addition. Now, how do you prevent your blog from being too wordy, right? How do you prevent your blog from going all over the place? One way is to make sure you include bullet points. Bullet points, beautiful. Bullet points very helps you to eliminate wordy paragraphs. I'm not saying that every single thing on your blog should be bullet points. No, I'm not saying that. But you know what? Include bullet points when you want to list items, include bullet points here and there, so it's just go straight to the point. Right now, many people don't have time and they don't have the patience to just read everything. But bullet points highlights issues, highlights things, right? And helps you to get straight to the point, right? So it's good to incorporate bullet points, right? Have that out there, incorporate bullet points when you're when you're writing your blog. It makes it so much, I wouldn't say user-friendly because we're not talking about an app or anything, but it makes it interesting. It makes it attractive, engaging for people to read, right? Because of these bullet points. Remember, we're not talking about a book, novel, but just talking about these bullet points when it comes to blogs, right? I'm not talking about maybe your novel and things like that, but this is a blog, and blogs are for information, it's also for marketing purposes. Okay, so it's very, very important. Okay, so that is what the sixth point. The next point is that you should always do your research. Do your research. Now, if you're stating a fact, writing something and stating a fact in your blog, it's very important to state that fact is, make sure that fact is really a fact. Okay, make sure the fact is really a fact. Okay, it's not something that you're just, it's not just something that you just said, okay, I got it from you got it from one website, right? It's very important for your blog if it's actually stating facts. I'm not talking about opinions now, but facts. Those facts should be true facts. They should be really facts, right? Make sure you're not getting your information from the wrong sources, right? The wrong source, right? Now, I'll give example with myself. Now, if I'm writing anything about taxes, I go to the Internal Revenue Code, the IRS bulletin, or I look at private ruling, I look at court cases, making sure that it's not just somebody just picked up something and wrote on their websites, right? It's so important, right, when you're stating facts, to really make sure that they are facts. Okay? So make sure that you're not putting things out there that are incorrect, because if you start that way, many people will say, okay, this blog, there's some things on this blog that are incorrect, and they would just lose interest, and it'll be hard for someone else or somebody to actually come back to read your blog, right? So that's very important. Make sure you do your research. Now, some blogs don't have facts or references about opinion. That's fine. That's fine. But if you do want to include facts and you state that this is a fact, make sure that it's really a fact, right? Do your research. And in doing your research, assuming you say, okay, this is the issue, maybe this is a fact, make sure that you are linking what that fact that you're stating on your blog to where you obtain that information. You might want to put a citation, or you might actually say, you know what, I'm going to put a link so that anybody that clicks on it will go either to and the website you got it from. All right. So, or if you don't want to do it that way, put a citation. You cannot quote a fact, right, and say that it's your fact when it's not from you. All right. There's a problem there. So if you are citing somebody or some, And it could even be somebody's opinion. You want to cite somebody's opinion, make sure that you acknowledge that person as you're writing that blog. It's very important. As I said, make sure it's factual, it's true. If there are facts, even if it's somebody's opinion, make sure you're noting that, noting that person's opinion, that this is actually from that person, okay? Or this is from this website, right? Factual, okay? Again, if you're just having a blog that is of opinion, you're just having an opinion on something, don't worry about it. But make sure that, as I said, if it's fact, you have it, you have the information links, right? Or the citation. Okay. Now, the eighth point is provide a connection. Now, blogs is not just about citing facts. Provide application. Make sure you're in, somebody reading it can see how you connect with that, and how you connect with the blog, and how the blog connects with your potential customers and potential clients. Make sure that there's application. You don't want to be in a position that you're just writing facts. This is not a history class. This is not a technical class. This is not college class or high school. This is not a class. You're not trying to teach somebody. It's really, blogs are factual opinions, and just making sure you have a connection, right? Make sure that you're drawing facts, drawing opinions, yours, you're also putting your opinion, and it's okay from your experience. Maybe it could be, this is what you're used from your business so far, from your product so far, right? This is what you've been able to, products so far. This is what you've been able to see why your product is different, just put it out there, and you just feel, yeah, that's why you're confident that this product is a bit different, because, over the years, you've seen this, you've seen that, look at what your product can bring. And you are very passionate because this is what you believe will make a difference, something like that. But let's have a connection, right? Have a connection in that aspect, right? Where you can actually relate, where you can actually, link the facts, right? And your opinion with your opinion, with what you believe would make a difference, right? Opinion is opinion, right? So, but make sure your opinion is not something that is goes negatively. Your opinion should be something that actually makes an impact, right? If your blog is one that asks questions, or there are questions there, make sure that your blog is actually answering those questions. All right. Your opinion, through your experience, things like that, right? It should be something that is interactive, something that it's like, oh, somebody's reading, you will actually feel that they have a kind of relationship with your company. All right. Then the next one is, please check your spelling, check your paragraphs, check how you're writing it. I know not all of us are English majors, okay? So we have some softwares out there that really help out, which is, please take advantage of those softwares, because you want to really have a blog that actually is grammatically correct, okay? Grammar, very correct. English, very correct, right? If you're writing the blog in English. Now, I know that there are some apps should I say apps? There are some applications that actually applications, software. I think I should use the word software that actually translates apps and translates websites from one language to the other. There's nothing wrong with getting that, but it's good to, if you're using such software, make sure that you check the translation. All right, make sure that the translation is accurate. Okay, make sure. You might want to get someone that speaks the other language. Just do a check, right? I know some of these softwares are very, very good, but just make sure if you're going that route. But if you're writing let's say your language is English and you're writing in English, English is not just speaking it. And as I said, I mean, I'm not an English major, right? So I write, I do write, but I do check to make sure, okay? So make sure that before you put that blog out there, that your spelling is correct, that your sentence structure is correct, that, everything related to the English language, if your blog is in English, is accurate. If your blog is in another language, I mean, that's your native language, your, different language, like maybe French or maybe in German, make sure that whatever its language is in, that is grammatically correct, that the spellings are correct, all those good stuff. Because again, you might have a beautiful blog, but because of so many grammatical errors, and because it's just the structure is so bad, the person will lose interest, and that's it. So yeah, do a rigorous check and make sure that everything is fine with that. Okay. Then the next one is which is the 10th, right? I went through that the one I just spoke about is the 9th. Now, the 10th one is, going back to what is actually your goal? What is the goal for doing this? Why are you trying to get yourself out there? It's because you want to get people to know, once you get the brand out there, making sure that people get to know you, people know what you're doing, people, is a form of marketing, right? So it's one of the things that is good to do is, consider like search engine, optimization. Now, one thing about search engine optimization, there are some keywords that they look at, right? To make sure that your blog is out there. So, I don't know how that works, but just take advantage of that and work with someone that is very good in that search engine optimization. What does that mean? Search engine optimization. Okay, I will talk about that some other time, but just generally making sure that you're out there, making sure that people come across your blog. Maybe let's say, for example, your business is into toys. Okay, you produce kids' toys, children's toys. And one of the topics is safety. I mean, choosing safe toys. That's a very interesting, first of all, captivating, right? Very interesting, captivating title, captivating topic, right? So many people, many parents, of course, would like to know which toys that they choose for their kids. So, for example, that would be a very interesting one, a captivating topic and a title. So what would that mean? It means that when they search for that toy safety, toys or safe toys, or your blog would pop out. Will be one of those that will pop up or pop up. Okay? Will pop up and say, oh, okay, this is something that I'm interested in, that I want to read it. So, and guess what? When they read it, it's okay. And they actually sell toys, right? That might even be a link to your website to pick up toys or buy toys, right? And if you're not into online business, if your business is only a brick and mortar store, you have to really reconsider that, because what these blogs do is that it actually gets your information out there, and people should be able to order online. There's nothing wrong with having a brick and mortar store. There's nothing wrong with that. But in addition to that, it's very important for you to expand your online space. All right. So that's the 10th tip. Look at ways to maximize your search engine, optimization. Make sure you optimize that. All right. So I'm hoping that I know there are 10. Again, as I said, when I started, these topics are really these 10 tips, 10 topics, or 10 tips I've given, regarding the blog. They are not just 10. I'm sure that there are many more. But I just felt that these 10 really would work for anyone that wants to write blogs. Again, there are more than that for personally, based on my professional and experience, professional experience, and my professional knowledge and my experience, I would say that these ones are really great to look at when you're actually writing a blog, right? Of course, if you come across other tips, good, use them. But the goal is to make sure you're out there, you're branded well, and making sure that people get to know you. No matter how good your business is, if people don't know you, right? How do you sell? How do you sell your product, right? And so remember, the goal is to help your SME thrive, your small and medium-sized enterprise or small and medium-sized businesses, right? Most large enterprises or business, they already have that already set in place and their metrics and everything. But a lot of times SMEs do not have that. All right. And of course, like I said, this is for educative purposes only. Of course, it's good to work with a professional, but these are some tips I believe that you can look into. All right. Okay, so let's go to our question. Let's see our questions for today. Yes, I know that I have not really, I've not really identified, I've not really gotten, another professional that would want to come and speak yet. I know I've been getting questions, but I'm looking forward to the next, would I say professional business owner, because it can also be in the service industry, could also be in the product industry. All right. So again, feel free if you want to show up on this program. Of course, feel free to go to my website. All right. All right. Okay. And the question, our first question is there a set amount of money needed to start a business? Okay, is there a set amount of money needed to start a business? Well, I would say that let me not say no, because I would say the answer is that it depends. It depends, all right? It actually depends. Now, it actually depends on the kind of business, right? If you want to go into, if you're a professional, let's say you're a dentist, you're a doctor, a dentist, a dentist needs equipment, right, to get into business, for example. That's why I say it depends, right? If you are maybe into consultation, right, maybe there's no set amount. You could just say, okay, you don't really need, everything depends on, you actually getting in to sell yourself, right? So it depends. You might want to, sell in such a way that you might want to, put more money in marketing. Depends. So I wouldn't say that I would say right now that it just depends. I don't know what business we're talking about here, but it just depends. All right. So, is there a set amount of money needed to start a business? I'll say it depends, right? Depends on what business you're doing, right? So, and it depends on, in addition to what business you're doing, it also depends on how you want to start off your business. I mentioned consultation, right? If you're into consultation, maybe you want to put a lot of money in marketing from the beginning. So it just depends on very many factors, right? So I will say the answer to the first question is depends, all right? And that's why I always advise people work with a professional, work with someone that can direct you, right? So that you would actually, you won't just overspend money when you don't need to spend. All right. You don't overspend when you don't need to spend, right? And if you do spend, you spend it wisely on specific products, right? Specific items. All right. As I said, if you're a dentist, of course, it just depends on what you're doing. You might spend it on specific equipment, right? Just depends on what you're actually doing, right? Sometimes people might say, you know what, I just want a chair and a couple of things, but I will, go and do my lab somewhere else. Just depends. So, but again, work with a professional so that they can look at your needs and then, advise you on the best way to go about this. Okay. The next question is, I'm producing these for the holidays and in my garage, but I'm having issues setting the price. Okay. How do I set the right price to sell my wreaths? Okay. Awesome. I know. It's really unbelievable. This is September. I can't believe we're almost getting to, we're almost mid-September, looking into the last few months of the year, and the question is, the person is producing REITs, awesome, very good, and already thinking of the holiday season. I know some people have REITs even during Thanksgiving, have REITs for different times of the year. So, but the question here is that what is the right price to sell my REITs? Okay, I would say, first of all, do a market research. Find out how much REITs are being sold for. Find out how much REITs are being sold for. That's what I would say. Do market research. Secondly, okay, now, if your REITs are custom made, it depends on that fact, because some people might say that, okay, I want specific REITs at this, specific REITs, and give you some decoration, some decorated requests, so you have to think of that. So I would say, first of all, look at the market and do market research and find out how much REITs are going for, how much custom REITs are going for, right? Once you have that, you might say, you know what, I want to sell mine quickly. I'll do it at maybe 5% less, depending. I would say get your market share. Sell it at a price that you can get a market share. When you get a market share, what do I mean by market share? Get people to love your REITs. Get it at a discounted rate. Don't think of how much you're going to make at the beginning, right? How much you're going to make. I'm not saying you should sell at a loss. No, I didn't say that. But don't look for so much profit. Go do a market research, get your pricing based on that. Okay, what about custom REITs? What about REITs bought in the supermarket? How much do they cost, right? Do your market research. After doing your market research, then put a price percentage and put a percentage that is a little bit lower, or a percentage that makes it a little bit lower, the cost of it, the price a little bit lower. Once people get to know your product and like it, right, and like your product, then you can put up your price, increase your pricing, all right? Then you can increase your pricing, all right? So make sure that you do your market research first. That is how you can determine the price of how you price or your price or the price or the selling price of your REITs, right? I know the holiday season is coming, and this is the time to really put things in order. And when I talk about put things in order, is do your market research and put that price there and start marketing those REITs, right? Because I know that there's a market for what you're doing, right? Awesome. Great. Okay. So the next question is, how do I decide on the right technology to use for my business? Okay, I know I did, or there was a show I did that talked about how to choose your technology. I'm not going to go through everything I said, but I'm just going to highlight a few things. First of all, of course, just one of the tips. Let me not say first, because there are a lot of tips I actually discussed on that platform, on that show. Make sure you look at the cost-benefit analysis. That's one of the points I said. Okay, now, is it too costly? Is it that costly, right? If it's too costly, then is it really worth it? So if the cost is there and you can really, if you can benefit from that cost, like when I say kind of benefit, when I say cost benefit analysis, okay, let's say you bought the software costs, for example, for the purpose of this discussion, $1,000. And the software is barely making you have an increase in revenue, right? No, 1,000, not, let's say 20,000, right? But you cannot justify that 20,000 increase in expenditure for that technology because you're not really seeing the benefits. That's why I said cost benefit analysis. All right. That's one of the points that I mentioned. Another point is that you should look at what your colleagues, when I say colleagues, I mean people in the same industry, right? Now, if you're, let's say, you're a baker, right? and you make all these beautiful chocolates. You know, I'm always saying these beautiful chocolates. Of course, I mean, I have to be careful, watch what I eat and everything. But who doesn't like chocolate? Okay, so let's say that you're a baker, right? It's good to really talk to other bakers and find out what software they're using, right? Even as you speak to other bakers or talk to other bakers, you have to know what works for you, right? Maybe you might have five bakers giving you five different software. They might maybe or three different software. You have to do your research and say, okay, these bakers gave me three different softwares. These are the ones that they love to use most of all. Let me see which one works for my bakery. Maybe yours is not as big as bakery A, all right? Maybe yours is not as small as bakery B, right? Maybe yours is in the middle. So make sure you look at what actually works for your company, right? And then of course, make sure it's user friendly, right? That's another tip I mentioned. Make sure it's user friendly. Now, it might be, the cost might be fantastic. It might be relevant to your business, but if it's so complicated, so complex, for me, if a software is so complex, please count me out. I don't like complexity. I don't like complexity when it comes to softwares, because even for my own, for our profession, for my professional, we have to learn different tax laws, have to, make sure we keep ourselves abreast with what the changes and all kinds of good stuff. So I want to have to spend more than the necessary time on learning a software. So if it's not user friendly, count me out. Count me out. So maybe, let's say maybe you are techie savvy, but remember, when you're talking about a software, a software actually is supposed to scale your business. And if a software scales your business, you require additional employees, right? Now, you don't want to spend time over and over, so much time just to train your employees, because this software, it's not so expensive, it's relevant, but it's so difficult to understand how to use it. And yes, you might be techie savvy, but what about your employees? They might not be techie savvy, or tech savvy, should I say tech savvy, all right? So for me, I love user-friendly softwares, and I strongly believe that's what we should look for. Again, watch that show. It's very interesting, and I feel that it's very educative. It would give you some tips. All right. Okay. So let's go to the last question as we round up. I want to approach the bank for a loan for my business, but I'm just a startup. Is it possible to get a bank loan as a startup? Definitely it is. It is possible. But usually, because banks, they look at some banks, I can't talk for all of them, but some banks actually look at projections, and they also look at the owner's credits. Some banks actually rely on the owner's credits. Some banks also look at projections. And as I said in the last couple of shows, there are actually bank loans out there for startups, for small businesses, right? They are there. So it just depends on your bank. And find out, right? From also your colleagues. When I say colleagues, your people in your industry, find out from small businesses and find out what is available. As I said I've said this before, and I will say it again, many people don't know this, but small businesses actually are the bedrock of many nations' economy. Many. And so because of that, it's so important that you ask and take advantage of those loans out there, right? These loans are available, but of course, there are criteria, there are conditions that apply. All right. So it's very important for you to look into that. All right. So wonderful to be here today. I hope I've been able to share something that is really resourceful. And of course, remember that if you want your business to thrive, you have to be intentional. I could be on this program forever, but you know what? The only difference, or what makes that difference, is that thriving means that you have to be intentional. All right. Thank you for having me today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.